All right, y'all. Look, man, we got another episode popping off. This is the finale for us, man. This is episode 13 officially. Though 13 is somewhat of a bad number if you got any kind of superstition. This is a good number for us, and we're going to make this number a positive one this time around. So, look, episode 13. Welcome back to Mic Check yet again. I got my brothers with me, my brother Josh, my brother Doc, and my brother Zach, as per usual. And look, we popped up this finale one with a couple questions that's near and dear for us. Now, before we get going, I want to just, kind of spit out what this table is. This table is a table for that. It is specifically us men in conversations, and we're being transparent. We're being ourselves. We sharing our stories. We sharing some things from our perspectives, but it's the full truth from our standpoints. Whether it be some things that we went through in the past, or some things we absolutely believe in as we move forward into our futures, with having kids, continue with our marriages and our relationships and things of that nature. But that's what we want to make sure that we're continuing to share with you guys, and you guys take that and use it however you want to use it. But look, all in all, we're gonna go ahead and get started with the finale episode. We're gonna be pretty much kind of like reminisce about some of the things we've been through this past season. I know my man Doc usually kick off the questions for us. We've all shared that space this season, but I'm gonna go ahead and knock this one out for the finale for us, and we're gonna go ahead and title this one "The Laughs, the Lessons, and the Letouts." For the first season, we spent a lot of this season more so talking about love, respect, hustle, healing, and I don't think it's a subject that we didn't necessarily touch in this first one with our personal lives. But we're gonna loosen up a little bit with this one. We're gonna get some laughs, some lessons, and some of the things we were getting out before we close the season. I'm gonna go ahead and open up with question number one, and just is opening up to the floor. What's the funniest thing that happened to you this year that you just didn't see coming?
You guys ever heard of a gym called like Hot Works?
Yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm down here.
Man, they've been popping up all over the city. So I finally decided to join Hot Works. And for those who don't know, it's infrared saunas where they host like classes where you can do yoga, hot stretching, certain different types of workouts. I joined it per se to just get into yoga. So after joining that, man, and just doing a few of the hot stretches, a few of the self-guided yoga classes, I decide I'm gonna go to a real yoga gym. So, I go in the yoga studio, and I'm thinking that I'm just going to go in there and master the class. I'm like, shit, man, I've been in Hot Works for 6 months, dog. I'm good. So I go in there, and, I'm thinking I'm going to be centered, I'm going to be balanced. And, bro, I tell you, man, it was humbling. I joined an advanced class, and I had no business being in there, man. My big ass was just falling all over the place. The whole time, I'm trying to play it cool, dog. It's from 18 to 75 in there, and I'm just falling all over the place, man. I should have been in a beginner's class, but that's just me being overly the overachiever.
Ambitious.
And I'm ambitious, and I shouldn't have been in there, and I think that was probably the most humbling and funniest shit that happened to me this year, man, for sure. But shout out to Hot Works.
How long you was in Hot Works before you went to this class?
About 6 months. I was in there heavy, 6 months, bouncing back and forth between different classes.
You was word.
That was self-confidence, not arch your back a little bit more.
Hey, I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes I think that they think that strength correlates into yoga. Now I think look, we in the gym every now and then. At least I'm in the gym every now and then.
Yeah.
Boy, I know that yoga is not the same when it comes to working out in terms of strength versus having to be balanced.
Right.
Yeah.
Humbling.
But look, hey, I commend you for going though, brother. I will say that.
Downward dog.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey,
That's about the only shit I got right that day.
I said major pause, but downward dog, boy. It's a looser.
Yeah.
Pause, heavy pause.
Hey,
but
no.
That don't get you right, bro.
I ain't even gonna say his name. None of that though.
Hey, free him, man.
Free him. Man. Hey, 50. What they get that man? 50 months.
He
50
months.
home.
Yeah.
3 months.
2 years and a half.
Yeah.
Left.
He'll be home. He'll be home early. Good behavior.
Man,
What y'all got? Where y'all at, Doc and Josh?
I think I can go next, man. I think the funniest thing, well, one of the funniest things I think is this year has been very humorous for a lot of different reasons, but I think the funniest thing just had to be with the kiddos, man. Like I think for me, it comes with my daughter right now. She's in that 2 stage. I don't want to call it terrible twos, but it's definitely borderline that. And she's in a time frame now to where she's testing boundaries, where she's repeating a lot of things that she hears and everything else. And so I think like one of the things that me and my wife, we call each other bae or babe or whatever the case may be. And so like my daughter, she's like, she'll be looking for me and she'll hear her mom call me bae. So it's just like, she think that's my name. So it's just like, bae, like, come here, like, where you at? Like, and stuff like that. And so it's just it's the dynamics of it all. And so, cause she's such a daddy's girl too, man, to where, it's kind of like she'll be competing with her mom for that spot in a sense, man. And so it's really funny, man, just to hear her, put words together for one, to just kind of like repeat things that she says. And she repeat other things too. Like if I'm on the game and I'm like, I'm frustrated on duty and I say something crazy, you know what I'm saying? I like, all right, baby, hey, look, don't repeat that. Time out. Like, don't repeat that. Like, but it's that time frame that she's in, man, where it's so delicate. And it's funny because like even things that she don't hear from us per se, she'll just like say it each day is something like new, whether it's from a show she's watching or whatever else may be, man. She'll watch Dora and start speaking in Spanish. And I'm just like, yo, what the heck? Like it's crazy, bro. So I say that's probably the funniest thing, man, just having the chance to, see the little one grow and see some of the things that she says, whether it's something that's inherited or like she hear it from us or whether it's a show that, she may have interest in. So yeah, that'd be.
No, absolutely. That's crazy because I heard this saying recently, and I probably shared it with y'all, or maybe you shared it on the pod, where they say that kids don't necessarily listen to what we tell them to do; they watch what we do.
Absolutely.
So for her to come in that house and start calling you babe, my daughter did the same exact thing, bro.
Yeah,
but to my
crazy,
wife,
yo.
as I was looking for my wife, and she did the exact. But I'm like, dang, that's crazy. They literally listen to exactly what we're doing or saying, and then from there, but they don't listen to our direction. They watch what we're doing. So
Absolutely.
perfect example,
Absolutely.
bro.
Absolutely.
I think mine would be this whole me picking up the golf clubs after like 10 years, man. I think that's my new escape. We've always had a gym, and I just like. And then I was fairly decent back when I used to play back in the day, like when I was coming into college, and then like I stopped playing, sold my clubs and whatnot. So it's like starting from scratch, man, and trying to be serious about this golf thing. And, I even broke bad and got some lessons from a professional guy. I was like, man, dang, I ain't about to pay for no lessons. I'm just got to swing the ball. But just the two lessons that I've had from him and him being a PGA pro, like it's changed my game a lot. And you know what I'm saying? I'm sticking with it this time. So that's probably it, man. This new venture,
Golf
bro.
a humbling sport too now. That for real.
Absolutely.
I get a lot of laughs out there too myself. So
Yeah.
Look, like I said, I showed y'all the highlights.
It's the most unforgiving sport, man.
it is, man.
You can go
That
out
and
there
yoga.
one day, be good, and then next day you're not.
Be terrible.
Yeah.
Be terrible.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we still got to get our retreat going. So Zach, I might look. Christmas coming up, brother. I might have to send you a couple clubs for a gift.
Hey,
There
man.
you go.
So we can get you out there.
Let's go in.
I'm
on
always
that,
gonna be
man.
ready.
So we can get
I'm
bro
always
out
gonna
there,
be
bro.
ready.
We need to get this golf trip going. Loading.
We got beautiful
2026.
golf
Yeah,
courses over
absolutely.
here on this side of the land.
I believe
Very
it.
true. In Denver,
we got some nice-
absolutely.
and
some nice
it's
ones
one
in
of the
North
best
Carolina, too,
one of the
Zach.
best places to golf too.
We
Huh?
got some nice ones in North Carolina too, Zach.
No, and look, I ain't scared to get on no plane now, man. What we talking about, man? What we talking about?
No word. Look, like I said, if we plan for homecoming next year, we gonna be making that thing shake anyway. So we might well come on here to golf course. We'll be out
Absolutely.
there.
Absolutely. Speedway got one
And
in the
look,
back.
nah, we'll pass
He's
on
super
Speedway.
Good by then. Look, hey, you said Max.
Maxway got one too.
Look, I wouldn't even I would be lying if I didn't say that golf was something that I would say has been something that was very intriguing in a sense for me. Man, listen, I had some good moments. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't even go as far as say I had good days playing golf. I've had good moments.
Yeah.
During those days, only because I have not had a consistent day of like being good at golf yet. But it is, I mean, it's a thrill. Bro. I thoroughly enjoy it, and but yeah, so I even took sick time to go and play. So definitely something that I think is, if y'all was watching, it would be a very hilarious time watching me try to swing a golf club. But I think for me, man, I think it's sad, not sad, but more so bittersweet to say. But my kids, my family, is something that's usually like that I'm centered around. But I think that what's been hilarious for me and even for my wife has been the ventures that my kids have been experiencing this year, and us going the distance to support them. Because at times, don't get me wrong, like I say, don't nobody judge me, but I'm still growing in this space, right? So, like, my son, he's wanted to do theater. He wanted to be the mascot at school. I kind of joked. I'm like, bro, I used to go to the games to watch the game. Now I'm going to the sun to like fully support my kid, who's in the mascot for a portion of the year. So I'm like, just them switching to those ventures was pretty eye-opening, but I think the hilarious part was my wife and I adjusting to those. Yeah. Like, I mean, we had the games and we watching my son, but we also watching the game. And I'm like, bro, where is he? Where is he here? And also doing theater, hearing my son sing around the house. Like, I mean, good voice, even when he on stage. But I'm like, bro, this is his character. This is where he is. But I'm also seeing that more too, with like a lot of people, a lot of kids these days jumping into the theater space. And then my daughter couldn't really dribble a basketball one day. Literally 3 days later, she's now at a basketball camp, the best dribbler. So, bro, I think that, man, to me, bro, all of this is eye-opening. I kind of laugh at it because I'm like, man, I'm seeing them growing. But at the same time, like, it's so much different now than what it was back in the day. And I kind of laugh at the changes that's been going on the past few years now, since it was our time to now for my kids. So I kind of look at that, man. It's all hysterical, but it's all kind of dope at the same time.
Facts.
Look, I think that might even kind of switch into another gear for us, because I think seeing those things, seeing my daughter can really dribble a ball, and seeing my son switching into different lanes of acting, and then being a mascot. What's some of the bloopers? Like, if your life had a blooper reel, what moment would you, I guess, in a sense, like, what would definitely make the cut of being a blooper for you?
Hey, that's a good question.
I'll even open it, man. I think if y'all got something, I'll let y'all go.
No, go ahead, dude.
Yeah, look, I think just the conversations, even some of these conversations that we have, it's funny because I think sometimes people may think that we kind of jump straight into these episodes, but we have a whole session before the session.
Yeah.
And those conversations that are not caught on the mic are the ones that I think are like the hilarious bloopers. I mean, we going in on each other, we laughing, we joking, we kind of talking about the past and talk about the now. And that's definitely one, bro, that I take in, but at the same time, nobody can hear some of those like, conversations.
Delete all of that shit.
Yeah, absolutely. So no, I think for me, man, just some of my unfiltered conversations is definitely some of my bloopers that I would say I think would definitely make some cuts.
I would say I would piggyback saying the conversations between me and my wife and I mean, the banter between us itself, man. I think, we don't go for the juggler because we got to sleep beside each other at night, but we be on each other's ass, man. It's funny, every chance we give each other that margin of error, we're going to let each other know about it, and not in a negative way, man. I just think that banter between us two, like the behind the scenes of us being married, seeing that, I think that blooper reel would make us trillionaires. For sure.
Yeah, man. I would have to say, man, the conversations even after, not even the conversation before, man, because, like, I to the people out there watching, this is the final episode, but, like, we work normal, regular jobs, man, and we come in and we record, and, some of us are tired, some of us had a long day with the family, like, we get the strength to come and try to give y'all, a good encouraging word, or just the dialogue, and, sometimes we up to 1 o'clock in the morning, 12 midnight in the morning, trying to get this information out there and push it. And even after recording an episode, we still be on the phone, what I'm saying, just chopping it up. And it's just like minds, everybody just coming together and just talking, man. Even, we are fraternity brothers, but it's just brothers, just catching up and just stuff like that. It just, everything just flows, man. So yeah. That's been a fun part about this season, man.
Absolutely.
Everything just going together.
That's a fact. I couldn't agree with that more. And I think, for me, a lot of what I'll say will be family based. That's just the period of life where I'm in right now. It demands a lot of my time and effort and everything else. And so, a lot of these questions, I'm speaking of it from like a father lens and things like that, just because that's where a lot of my experiences come from here now. So I think like this question here will also fall into that bucket. I think for me, when it comes to the bloopers, man, like my son, he's 2 months now, and so he doesn't demand a lot. Maybe from his mom's, he needs his mom's more. But I think like for me, it's definitely my daughter, bro. Like when it comes to just like singing songs throughout the day, like reading a book and me like being animated because my daughter loves to read, and so like I'll have to be animated, and that's what enables her to just like learn and read itself and just kind of apply emotion and things like that. And so a lot of my bloopers, man, just come from me being out, just getting out of my comfort zone and like
Yeah.
spending time with her, because a lot of people, who don't know the actual me, they'd be like, man, like he's, I don't know, just probably just real cool, like real calm and collected, and that is essentially me. But she's like that. I don't want the cool dad. I want the dad that's like, I get out of that cool stuff, dad. I need you to do like the crazy stuff with me. I need you to really get out of your comfort zone and really like make this thing that's on the pages, for example, be a reality, or whatever the case may be, to make this song, make me feel this song. And so we'll just be tripping out throughout the day, man, just having good laughs, man, just of like me being crazy and dad just step into that role to where it's just like, yo, like he's that type of figure for me. And so I love that. You have to dive in and pull something out of you, and I think as kids they will and enable that in you as well for you to pull that out. But yeah, I would say the bloopers, man, comes from the songs me and my kids or the family sing. I can see us in a car ride, whether it's going to Target or going to a restaurant, whatever, man. My daughter in the back, she tired of being in the car. It's like, all right, let's turn them songs on, bro. Let's sing it. Let's give it our all. Let's do it. And we as a collective just doing it together, man. It's a good time. And it's not something I would probably like just do on the ordinary, but it works for the foundation of what we're trying to build. And I think that'll definitely be a lot of those moments will make the cut when it comes to the bloopers in my life, for sure.
Yeah, that's crazy because man, Zach, Josh, I know I can't wait till y'all have y'all kiddos and
For real, man.
and things like that, because I'm looking. I'm looking forward to the stories, bro. And I say that because I could relate. It's like when I'm having those moments of singing, like, I don't know. It used to be what's my girl name on YouTube, Doc? White
Gracie
lady.
Corner, Rachel, Miss Rachel.
Rachel. Oh man. When I'm singing Rachel, I'm in the car, I'm a whole different person when I step out the car. And my daughter by not ever say, "Yo, Daddy, let's sing the song like we were singing at the house." I'm like, "Yeah, nah, that was us.
That was us.
That was our moment. Like they don't even know me like that."
Exactly.
So
it's like they want to make it what's home everywhere, and it's just like, nah, man, like, we in Walmart right now, or Target right now. We can't be doing all of that. But it's a great time, bro. It's a great time. It's Rachel, Gracie Corner. I ain't gonna lie, man. I found myself singing Gracie Corner songs as if it was made for me.
No, word.
As many times as I sing it, bro. So it's wild, man. It's definitely blue.
Hey, because the beats in Gracie's Corner
beats go crazy. It go crazy. I'm like, I don't know who be making them jokes, but it really like bringing that song to life, for real, for sure.
Absolutely. Hey, Josh, I can't wait to see you, bro. I would say I'm pretty sure you gonna soften up, bro. Like as soon as that joke happen, when or if you have a girl, shoo.
Well,
definitely Zach. Boy, I think both of y'all, man.
Them girls do it,
both
man.
of y'all.
Them girls do it, bro. Yeah.
I remember Out of the Box.
Yeah, bro. We be sing. Me and my daughter be singing that too, bro. We be trying to put on the songs and stuff that we came up watching too, bro. Yeah, bro. And she loves it. She loves it. She'll start patting on her legs, bro. She be doing all of that, bro. Yeah. But she be on it, bro. Those are all the groups that come in, bro, for sure.
Hey, Out of the Box was one of them ones, man.
It was one of them ones. It's a goated show for sure.
It's funny because I think we had so many conversations on this pod, fellas, throughout the season, and I think just looking back, I'm actually curious. Like, what's some of the things what's one of the lessons this season? That's one of the conversations that we had taught you about yourself.
I mean, I say this year taught me the importance of slowing down, man. I realized that I don't always have to be in go mode. I know we talked about that a lot in a lot of our episodes, the grind, the hustle. I used to think that, being still meant being stagnant, but sometimes being still is exactly what allows us to grow, and it allows growth to happen. I've learned to sit in the moments instead of always just trying to move through them. And I think, this year losing my mom really sat me down. It put me in a space of reflection, and it put me in a space of really putting myself in the aspect of appreciating what's right in front of me. So being still is something that I really learned this year.
That's heavy, bro. I think what I had to say was pretty much piggybacking off of that, um, like pretty much like that the wilderness is intentional. You know, the wilderness that we go through, the journey that we go through is intentional. And furthermore, it's equally important as the triumph or as the you making it out of the wilderness, I think is what I learned for myself. Like, be okay in there. I think, like, the analogy I made at one point in time of, like, a football analogy where I was just like, when pressure comes out, like, scramble a lot. I don't stay in the pocket as much. Like, that analogy, like, bro, just stay in the pocket a little bit longer, man. Like, it's growth there. It's learning there. Sometimes you'll get hit, but you'll get back up, man. Sometimes you need to making sure that, you understand that you'll take a hit, but somebody else may succeed. Or in this case, the family will succeed. And maybe a first down or a touchdown that come out of that situation. But you just got to stay in the wilderness a little bit longer, man, because on the outside of that, although like we try to, get to outside of that and the triumph and the treasure of it all, I think it's equally as important as staying in it and learning and growing at the same time. And so that resonates with me a lot, Zach, to be honest, of just being still, just appreciating the journey in itself, because it's all lessons that's coming out of it. So that's the biggest one that I would say I learned this year.
I think for me, man, is not being so selfless or selfish or just being considerate by yourself. I think my turning point this year was when I got promoted in my job, and for the longest, I ain't want to care about nobody but myself. You know what I'm saying? I never wanted to be a supervisor. I never want to be in charge of anybody else but me. You know what I'm saying? As long as I can take care of me and get my money, But the opportunity arose for me to take this position, of course, go through a process. And, I came in number one on it in the categories to get the promotion. But, man, I mean, since getting the promotion, man, it's been amazing. And it's really nice to pour back in to the process that, I came through. And it's just like, wow, I was like, when I was a rookie, I'm like, dang, man, I don't never see me being a supervisor. Man, they got to be on people's books and make sure everybody's straight and stuff like that, man. I'm just like, man, I can't never see myself doing that, you know what I'm saying? But now here I am, you know what I'm saying, 9 years later. So it's been great, man. Just seizing the moment, man, and don't be scared of it. I remember my very first day after getting promoted, man. I was like, hey, man, what if I don't do this right? What if I don't do this right? You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, man, we here. We're going to do it. I know how to do the job, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, man, everybody going to come to me for answers now. And I think we had a couple conversations about it. So what if I don't know the answer right then and there? But if I go find you the answer, you know what I'm saying? That's what it's all about.
Look, funny thing is, bro, I know I'm even backtracking a little bit, but that's a blooper of mine too, Josh, in terms of like second guessing myself as a leader. I think all of us are phenomenal leaders. We all go in, we make decisions, and then on the back end, Zach, even though I come to him like, hey, bro, look, what happened today was da 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 da. In terms of like a scenario, how you think I handled that? That's me second guessing myself, but I know I made the right decision. But again, I mean, that's a blooper that I would definitely take out, but one that shows that we're human. You gonna make a decision, and on the back end, and even sometimes you get a little nervous about being in charge, being a leader. Right. But I think also, I mean, that's a blooper, yes, but also something that I've learned over time is that even speaking from y'all, we speaking with y'all, knowing that I'm just as human, I make mistakes. I know that the gods are thinking the same thing. In terms of like going through the motions of in leadership. But I think a big thing that I've appreciated is not to harp on what Zach and Doc spoke on, but be still is one. But the last thing, the main thing I wanted to call out was like the appreciation of having like the fellas to chat to about this. Man, I think that this pod, brothers, has opened up channels and conversations. I mean, we've seen messages from Doc, we've seen messages from Josh, I've seen messages from Zach, and from people that are watching. I mean, I got text messages and messages on Instagram, things like that about, we spitting bars, we sharing like, and all of that, just all the stuff that we're dropping on this pod is something that I appreciate the most. And I think that that's something that the lesson that's taught me was that these conversations aren't private conversations. These aren't secret. we all really have these conversations, but I think that the awareness just wasn't there. And I'm gonna give an example. I think an example would be some of the resources within the Black community. We spoke about other sports that people are talking about nowadays, other than football and basketball, boxing, things like that. We spoke about mentors. We spoke about going to therapy. Those are some of the things that has taught me that these are not like outside the norm of what we should have access to, and that we should have been had the access to. So I think for me, I think that's what these conversations have taught me about myself, that it's okay to open up in those spaces, and you're not the only one going through whatever you're going through or whatever you're dealing with. I mean, we all chatted and we all talked about therapy in a sense. I'm like, oh shit, that means at least three other fellas that I personally know have also either went to therapy or have been talking about going to therapy or been thinking about going to therapy. So hopefully that's an eye opener for all of us, even the listeners, that it's okay to be okay with whatever you're dealing with. And you're not alone in that fight either. Look, I even think this is a perfect segue, and it might even be the same response. Some of the trials that we dealt with just this past year might even be the same thing that could be a message that you told your younger self. But I'm actually curious, if you could give your younger self one piece of advice about manhood, what would that advice be?
Yeah, no, it's not for the weak, man. When you're stepping into manhood, you have to understand that there's a level of sacrifice that comes with that.
Yes.
For individuals who, it's a balance. You have to have like a lot of self-worth, a lot of self-confidence, because there'll be a lot of disappointments, when it comes to manhood. There'll be a lot of times that people will let you down, or you'll let yourself down. You have to be able to give yourself grace. And so, speaking to my younger self, man, being patient is what I will say. Being firm. If you you either stand for something or you'll fall for anything. That type of mentality. And I think, like Zach said as well, being still. Embrace the failure, man. There is gonna come within the journey, and fear is not an option. At the end of the day, that is the enemy's work. Fear. And whatever that consists of. You fill in the blank of whatever you fear, whatever you have, a level of speculation about. But that's not an option, man, when it comes to manhood. Do things with the expectation of you did it to your best ability, and be a student, of the game. Have that student hat on, because there's a lot of areas for growth. And, just being firm and patient in the process, because, with you putting in the work, I think ultimately, people will see you and love you for who you are, and they will be able to uplift you to who you can become. So that's what I would say to my younger self.
I think that was very well said, Doc. I think I would, piggyback off of you, man. It is the balance aspect, and not that balance I talked about in my yoga experience, but having to have that balance, man. So I tell my younger self, I tell him rather, that vulnerability isn't weakness. That isn't, in fact, it is balance. So that idea of vulnerability, it gives you that balance in life that you need to continue to push through this crazy world that we live in. You don't have to be the strong one all the time to be respected. I tell him that. I tell him that real strength is knowing when to stand tall and when to sit down and heal. I think oftentimes throughout my life, I haven't given myself the space to heal, because I thought that as long as I've got my head up high, as long as I'm continuing to walk forward and not taking any steps backwards, that I'm okay. But I've also felt like I was okay and not giving my space that time to heal. I think that is one of the most pivotal things within a man that you have to do. Just like if you go to the gym, you got to give yourself that time to recover before you can go and hit that PR again. You got to give your time a chance to heal with every situation, every setback, every downfall, every letdown, every form of rejection, because we oftentimes compartmentalize that, or suppress it rather, and then it becomes to a point where it's a boiling point. And now nobody wants to understand why Josh is reacting in this way, or Zach is lashing out in this way, because we didn't give ourselves a chance to heal, or we didn't want to be vulnerable in front of a person that could have helped us work through those issues.
That's heavy.
And I just piggyback off of that. Doc, like you said, just trust the process, man. I'm pretty sure we've all been told by people in our younger years that, hey, you ain't gonna make it, you're not gonna amount to anything, or you're not gonna be this, you're not gonna be that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm pretty sure all three of us on this podcast can look at them and say, look at me now.
Absolutely.
Just stay the course, man. Like I promise you, you stay low, and then you're gonna come up. Just gotta remain humble. Don't get out there and jump 10 steps ahead. Just step by step, man. Step by step.
Absolutely.
When it come to my profession, and an older gentleman told me, man, I promise you, you'll go far if you keep your head down, keep your nose clean, do the job, do it right. Don't worry about what other people think. Do your job, do it right, and you'll go far, man. And that stuck with me. And that was 9 years ago, 2016. So,
and you know what's funny? I think this is a nice, and I'm piggybacking too, because I think it's a nice segue to something that I've learned. Not necessarily, I wouldn't say necessarily learned, but something that was kind of an eye opener to me is something that Zach said was what's meant for you is meant for you, and I think that a lot of us, at least I know I've been told before that I've been in a space where you were kind of like a DEI hire. And I'm like, so, like, all right, cool. So I'm here, and this is my time to show out, right?
Right.
And especially when I was back in Denver, man. I mean, I looked around. It wasn't a lot of me or us in that building that I was in. I probably was literally like one of three, and one got let go. So at that time, and it was so small of a group of us that they came to me before they let this person go and was like, hey, we gotta let this person go. I'm like, I'm not his boss. I'm an equal to him. You coming to me like cool, do your thing. I'm here because I got something I got to do. But I look at it like this, man. You are where you're supposed to be. If you in a building that it might not be a lot of use, you did what you had to do to get there. It don't matter about the process. You did an interview just like the next man did an interview. If you got it, you got it. If you didn't, you get it. You didn't. And most times I feel like if you are not somewhere where you think that you should be, you probably got a blessing somewhere else. That's probably a wider door, but something much bigger behind that door. I've seen so many times I got no's, and I'm like, damn, I'm glad they ain't take me. So I said it to say, man, that's something that resonated with me. Is that what's meant for me is meant for me. What's meant for you is what's meant for you. And don't downplay your process of how you got there. Look, we all went to school. That's where we all met, right? We all got our undergrad, our bachelor's degrees. I know Zach got his master's. I'm not sure Doc Josh. I don't think we even caught up on that in terms of where you guys are with that. But we worked for this, bro. So I think that all in all, I make it a point to state like, hey, I didn't get this role because of like something missing. Nah, I put the work in for this. I deserve it. We do start out with imposter syndrome. I think sometimes we second guess ourselves, but Josh, with your recent promotion, bro, you're exactly where you need to be, bro. Mm-hmm. So I think that's something I need to make sure that I continue to resonate on. And I also want to make sure that we sharing that kind of message with each other too, because we're not here because of somebody else's fuck ups in a sense. We here because we put that work in to get here. And I think that's even a nice segue, because that's the mindset that I'm on now too, is that wherever my feet land is where I'm supposed to be. And I really don't care like what kind of environment I'm talking about right now.
Can you repeat that again,
golfing.
D? Repeat that again. Do you preach it right now? Repeat that again.
Yeah,
my feet.
Hey, he is though.
When your feet land, I need to hear that again.
I almost forgot what I said, but because I'm freestyling this shit as I go. But wherever my feet land, bro, is kind of how I look at it in terms of where I'm supposed to be. It does not matter the environment, bro. Right, even speaking about golfing this year, I'm like, look, my knees feel so much better because hooping won't it.
It won't it.
Hooping wasn't it
no more. Yeah,
no, hooping wasn't it. Football definitely ain't it no more. And so it's like I'm supposed to be here. I'm enjoying this. I'm not good, but I'm enjoying every bit of it. And even just buildings, being around certain people. I've been in certain other people's men groups. I'm exactly where I need to be. My work, my job, I'm exactly where I need to be right now. So I think that's the mindset that I picked up this year. And I don't think y'all know this, but I picked this up just from speaking with y'all. Obviously a few other brothers too, but speaking with y'all kind of like put things in perspective for me. Like, appreciate the now, bro. Be still. You do not control shit. This is all already destined. You just following the path, bro. So that's why I say that my feet is exactly where I need to be. But I'm gonna pitch this one over to you guys. What's a value or mindset that you guys picked up this year that you may be carrying into the next?
I'll say for me, consistency and persistence, man. That's something that it applies to not just my working life but personal life as well. I have to be consistent at what I do as a hiring manager. As a people manager, and making sure that individuals are getting what they need to be successful in their careers. While I'm still doing the things that I need to do to be so as well. Being a devoted husband and father, man, that takes a level of consistency, persistence. Every day isn't a great day. I might
Absolutely.
have more days that aren't great versus the days that I do have great. So there's a level of see it through or Mamba mentality that has to occur, in those moments to where that's definitely something that I value more, even the more now in the position that I'm in versus what I did or may have been in my younger stage. You think you have all the time in the world, as you're a young man, and I'm still young, fairly young. I'm 31 years old, man, so I'm fairly young. But even in the younger stage that I was in, you take so much for granted, man, because it's just like I have time to make these adjustments. And then you see individuals who are gone by the wayside, man, and people who grew up with you in the same situations as you and, that are no longer here. And you got to understand, man, that it's just like you have to put things in perspective, to carry over, not even to the next year, but I look at it generationally. I'm leaving a legacy here. And so not even taking it into the next year, but my persistence and my consistency is going to make my son's son or my daughter's daughters, be successful as well. And that's the mindset that I think I'm tapped into as of right now.
Yeah, I have to piggyback off you, man. I think you said that very well. I mean, I'm channeling consistencies too. And I think whether it's my fitness, my relationship, or projects at work,
Yeah.
I kept showing up even though motivation may have dipped, right? So
Yeah.
we talk about
Yeah.
the flows, and you hit on that where sometimes I might not have a great day. I have more of those days versus that. So being consistent in that space. I think that sometimes I used to struggle with that, and now I'm at the point where discipline leads, and now that's where results have to follow. Being in that discipline space and being consistent has showed me, or shaped me this year alone. And it's not that I haven't been consistent, it's just that I've tapped into the form or idea, rather, of consistency a tad bit more, and I've seen the
Yeah.
results behind that. Just behind that one thing. Just being consistent. You ain't got to be perfect, but consistent. I might wanted to go and run 2 miles, but my body was able to just walk 0.75. I was consistent though. I'm still consistent along that
You
journey.
was moving, baby.
You know what I mean? You was moving. So I very well said, Doc. I just wanted to piggyback off the consistency aspect of it.
For sure, brother.
Being for me, be intentional about what you want and where you want to go in life, and did I say consistent and being persistent? Those are my two that I'm taking into next year.
I love it, bro.
Because what I'm learning
I
too,
love
man,
it.
is that like it's a lot of like the things that I'm taking or I'm so constructive about myself. The people who matters to me the most don't care about that.
Right.
Like like it's the things of just showing up. Like I said, whether it's just like reading my daughter books throughout the day, singing a song with her, like whether it's my wife, like she don't need nothing, she's very self sufficient. Whether it's just listening to how her day was, and not trying to solve anything, but really just tapping into like how it may have made her feel, you know what I'm saying, or whatever it could be. And I think like it's those things, that we have to, not we, but I'm speaking for myself, and whoever out is listening that could, the shoe fits of just like that level of persistence and that level of consistency. It's times, man, where I'm just like burnt out from like, I talk to people all throughout the day, like whether it's my direct reports, whether it's in leadership settings, whether it's whatever, to the time to where with my wife ready to unload, with my daughter ready to be like, hey, dad, we doing this. I'm just like, no, we're not. Like, we're not doing that. Like, I
No,
may
we're
be like,
not.
yeah, but I'm saying it, but my gestures or my energy is not there. And I think like with
Right.
that's the level of persistency and consistency what I'm speaking to for me personally in my life, to where it's just like I'm learning, that I don't have to be 100% doc all the time. I just need to show up. I just need to make my presence felt, within anything that I do. And, when I do that, and do it consistently, that's where the love and the growth and the learning experiences and, just like the foundation is built. And so that's what I mean by that, man. And I hope our listeners, can understand that you don't have to do it right all the time. And granted, you
Absolutely.
can be consistently doing something wrong, and that's not beneficial either. But look for those moments to where, it's just like, hey, I might be too constructive on myself. Let me give myself some grace, especially for the people who are going to be uplifting me. What do they need? Because in me pouring into them, I know they can pour into me as well.
Absolutely. And you got to find that tribe too. You
Yeah.
got to find a tribe that you can pour into, and they can pour back into you. I feel like I think we spoke on this before, and that's a part of the consistency too. Finding good quality people,
Yeah.
and keeping them close, man. So, yeah, I think, and again, I think we hit on that before in terms of if I'm pouring into somebody, I hope to God that they see the same thing in me in terms of like that they can pour into me, or they can say whatever they want to say. Like, I need to give back just as much as they're giving to me as well. So I totally agree. And you know what? And this is I'm gonna push you to another one in terms of just something that you may hear, some kind of something to, I don't know if it's specific to just men in general. I think it's just in people. But what's one thing that you're tired of hearing? And actually, let me rephrase it. It is for the men. What's one thing that men are tired of hearing but don't always say it out loud?
Now I got something I'm gonna bring up, and I told, and we can tackle this question, and because I promise that I will bring this to the table, and let's bring it to the table on the
Absolutely.
last episode.
Let's go. Let's do
Let's
it.
unfold it, brother.
So the question was, why do black men be with a sister when they down bad, they ain't got no job or nothing like that, but when they make success and they have this progression in life and they've reached that peak, or they got it now, they don't have to worry about finding a job or nothing like that. They leave the black woman and go get some foreign chick.
That's a layered one.
It's been a question that's been brought. There's been several people that said this question to me. Y'all need to talk about that. So the question
All
on
right,
the
let's
table
do it.
is, a sister is always gonna hold you down. Whether you got a job, you Jody, whoever, Joe Blow. You know what I'm saying? And then when a black man reaches a certain success, we see it from different, athletes and stuff like that. Some of our sisters want to know why, do we leave the one that's held you down this long and then go to something foreign, whether it be, overseas or over there, or you know what I'm saying?
Man.
I get what you're saying. And I don't want to really segue, because our platform is very catered. I'll take a manner at this. Go ahead and say you spot on for what you're saying. I think, not to get too in the weeds of it, white women were forbidden fruit from black men from the beginning of time, where we when we talk about the idea of slavery, when we talk about the brutality that was committed against black men against a white man, when we talk about that same psychological brutality that was committed against black men by a white woman when the white master per se wasn't around, that idea of forbidden fruit, or you shouldn't touch that, or you can't have that, or you're not good enough to have that, I think that translates into the idea of success in some brother's mind. That inherited fear, because we inherit things from our ancestors. So some of that stuff that you may be feeling in 2025, your great felt 100 years ago. It's passed through the lineage, because we talked about therapy. We talked about those things that were not necessarily addressed. So therapy, if we being real, therapy in the black community or brown or socially disenfranchised communities rather is fairly new for us. we haven't had time to unpack those things that have happened in our own time frame, or our own life rather. So some of the things that we've inherited from our ancestors are still deeply embedded in us. And hear me out when I say this. I'm not saying that I'm against anyone that goes out and dates someone that is a part of a different race. What I'm saying is this, that there's two different conversations that we have here. We have a conversation where someone has dated this primarily their whole life, and then they get paid, and then they say, screw you, I want to go and do this. But then we also have the conversation of, like, that person truly found love in that person. And no matter what side of the fold you're on, you're going to have to accept that. These people understand each other. They relate to each other. They love each other. And I support that 100%. But on the flip side of that, I think the idea or the aspect of what Josh is trying to get at is more so the healing that hasn't been done in the black community amongst the black man and the black woman. Because oftentimes there is a loss in translation where people don't really understand each other. So we talk about success. Are we talking about two successful people in a relationship? Or is it just that one person? Has this girl been with him since high school? She didn't go to college. He went to college. He's now in the NFL. He's now in the NBA. And she's still Sally from hometown. So we have to talk about the idea of, or the aspect of them outgrowing each other. And unfortunately, in these spaces that this person's in, the woman that he's used to seeing isn't in that space. They just aren't around. Yeah. That's not what just pushed in front of them.
Same.
So it can go so many different ways.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
Look, I think, man, I think one, and maybe we expounded on this one. I think it's a great question. But look, I've seen people break up and switch lane in terms of their whole race of who they dating, and they broke. So I kind of hate that we correlated in the sense to, like, just getting paid or now moving it to a new tax bracket, and being specifically, like, moving from if I'm down bad now and I end up getting rich, that the quo is that I'm going to be moving on to a whole different race now. I don't think that's necessarily it. I think at times, poor or rich, I'm ready to. It's our season to move forward. Now, granted, I think initially, Josh, and I'm glad Zach answered the question first, because I was about to kind of joke and play about it, like, bro, but like on a serious note, right? People your season's in. It's almost like jobs. It's almost like friends. The same thing with the relationship. Shit, sometimes in relationships, you kind of hit you then when you in a relationship, like, yeah, this. So I think, in a sense, appreciate that you're okay with yourself moving on and not having nobody outside around you nearby judge you or try to make you have a regret of your sound decision that you've already been making, your decisions in general. So all in all, and I'm not even gonna say this to black women, because I'm married to a black lady, and I know, at least I feel 100% safe where I am, that if I did get rich, I don't think she's switching up. I don't think I'm switching up either. I just don't see it, because I'm 10 toes down in my marriage today, and I don't think anything changes. With me. Right? Absolutely, absolutely. And but I will say, man, I think that when it's your season to move, make your move and feel comfortable in your move, because even if you're thinking about making that move, you're probably not even gonna be comfortable where you are right then anyway. So, all in all, I respect somebody's decision to do that, but I feel like it's also a reason they did it, not just because they got paid.
Right, and I think that's what I was going to get into as well, bro. Well said from both of you fellas. So this is a layered conversation, and this one that I don't know if we'll be able to really just complete in this setting, as of right now. But so maybe definitely continue conversation in season 2. But I think ultimately,
whole episode.
Yeah, facts. Dedicated to this, because this is a really good question. I think, man, it really just depends on the person. A lot of I think we talked about this in the past other episodes, of where it's old heads still discourage young brothers, of getting married and things like that to our sisters. It's just if you look behind it, who are you married to? Who is the person that you sleeping beside every single day, man? Are they speaking life into you? Are they discouraging? There's a lot of different variables that comes into play, when we talk about why that person, man or woman in this sense, decided to take that step into the next direction. Because we can make the argument as well that our sisters, they're also very scorned by brothers, and over time, they may look to a different race, to try to find love in that manner, because they're tired of being screwed over and things like that, and vice versa. And so I would say, just to the nature of your question, Josh, I would then rebuttal and ask the question of just like, is that person or has that person been speaking life into that individual? How, when that person was down, was he giving it an effort? Or were you discouraging him because of the things that he wasn't able to provide? See, men don't forget those things. And so I think it's one
Absolutely
of
not.
those things is where it's just like when I was down, were you speaking life into me to manifest our come up? You know what I'm saying, and things like that. Was the man trying, in that period of time, at least maybe in an ideal situation, he didn't hit the market. He probably didn't land that job that would have put them in another situation or a better situation that they were in, but maybe he was given the effort to do that. And so was the woman at that time speaking life into him to say, like, I understand he's trying and I'm going to do my part as his helpmate. I think with our sisters, and this is just going to be something for whomever asks that question. I hope that this message is received well, but I think for our sisters who are discouraging our brothers when they're down, they really need a reality check, man. It's a lot of brothers out here that's cool with sitting on the couch playing the game while you out there doing what you got to do, But then there's brothers to where it's just like my situation in this season of light right now maybe isn't for me, but I have faith that the next season is going to be. And so if you are here with me to wait along the way to where I can get to this point, then we will both be benefited. But if I know fairly well that it was hell, I was already in hell, and you made sure that I knew I was in hell while I was in my hell period, or while I was at my Red Sea moment. When I do come up, that's where you see that transition. So it didn't start when the transition happened. It started when the journey was there a lot of times, so where men don't forget that and it registers to say, you know what, I don't necessarily think you deserve this come up with me because you wasn't really speaking life into me when I was down. And so I think and every woman ain't like that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that, but you do have some sisters, man, to where they definitely will put salt on that wound. And I would just say, if you are that individual, just make sure that you're speaking life into that man, because we definitely don't forget those things. And in that man, don't forget, where home is. You know what I mean? Like if you have somebody who is speaking life into you during your Red Sea moment, or when your back is up against the wall and she holding it down, don't forget that woman, man. When you come up, that's
Yeah.
something for y'all. That's a come up from y'all. That was mandated by God and her prayers and her obedience, her actions to where you was down to where, she was taking over for that season. So it comes in various forms. It's a very high variable related conversation. But it really just depends on who you are as a person, and how you're treating your individual in their Red Sea moment is how I feel about it.
I hate to keep talking about this, Derek, and I know we got to get through.
No,
But
no,
just
no.
to
Do your thing,
expand
bro. Do your
on
thing.
one of those points, Doc, where you basically said they're speaking life into an individual. I think another layer, like I said, this could be a whole episode. I think another
Yeah,
layer that we
facts.
talk about in our black and brown communities is the idea of these individuals might not have even grown up in a two-parent household where this woman knows how to be a husband to a man,
Right.
or
Right.
this gentleman knows how to be, I'm sorry, a wife to a husband. Sorry, and this guy knows
Right.
vice versa. I often feel like sometimes, and Josh used the term foreign. So some people like to use the term subservient. Some people use the term catering to the man. I do feel like there is a gray area in the black community where some females have not been brought up in that space, rather, where we have to give our sisters some grace where they're learning just as much as we're learning. So
Absolutely.
sometimes instead of us to just hit the road and go and find somebody that fortunately grew up in that environment, and I'm not telling somebody to stay somewhere where they're unhappy, stay somewhere where you're not appreciated. I'm just saying do the work, because marriage is work.
Do the work.
Do the work. And if it
Yes.
takes that, I have to go and unlearn what I grew up over here, and you got to go unlearn this, and then we got to now come back together and relearn each other for a sense. I think that that's probably another big factor that we're dealing with, because oftentimes I've had relationships with females who, I'm married to a black woman, but I've had relationships with non-black females. And I would say this, with my wife standing beside me, that sometimes you've been in spaces where this individual were taught things than another counterpart. And you were taught things. I've got white counterparts, Hispanic counterparts, Asian counterparts. And those men were brought up in different households where I learned from them daily. So we talked about it earlier in the group. Surround yourself around good people. Put yourself in a space to continue to be vulnerable. So when it's time for you to go home and do the homework with the person that you're trying to build with, y'all can go and start doing this war game together. And instead of being on one side of the war, we can now go to this war room and game together. Because I done got some game from Derek. I done got some game from Doc. You done got some game from Megan or Rebecca or Karen. Or we can bring all this stuff together. And now we can figure out how me and you can make this work so it can be harmonious for us too.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Hey, look, I think one of the biggest things to ask in that question, Josh, and not just for Josh. I mean, Josh brought the question up, but because I've heard that question before or heard about it, at least the topic. Look, the first question they ask in therapy, how do I know? Because I go, is, but what did you do? What did you do for this to happen? Like, how could it have been different from your point of view? So to that young lady that asked the question, what could you do to learn from this? Like, what could you do differently leading up to this? Because if that money ain't come overnight, 9 times out of 10 it ain't coming the lottery. So you knew something was kind of building up, but what was you doing in the process? And I think that's another question to ask too, man. Because and I hope it ain't that something that they learned is niggas ain't. Excuse my friends,
keep it. All in all, that's what they say. That's what they say.
Yeah, and look, and speaking of the question, what's one thing that you're tired of hearing? That's one.
Yeah.
I think
that's one.
I think that alone, brother.
Number one.
Yeah. Saying that, and I don't know if niggas is derogatory specifically for men. I mean, black men, but I'm gonna speak for black men. Is that that quote is so heavy. And I think that sometimes let me relate this to fathers. Black fathers are nothing, right? I see so many black fathers that are now present. I see so many black fathers at gymnastics with me with their daughters. I see so many black fathers at basketball games. I see so many black fathers fighting for the legalities of their kids. And bro, I see so many. Now, granted, you're gonna have a population that people ain't doing that, and it's not just black men. It's not just men.
Right.
I've seen mothers that ain't even doing what they got to do with their kids.
Right.
So I think, and I might have hit on this before, but I feel like hearing that makes me chase a better style of being a father when I'm already a good father. Right. I feel like it's me, like I'm running this race, bro, that I feel like we'll just end up getting tired because we're running this race for no reason. As it's saying that, and it's not, let me get off the father pedestal. I'm gonna speak specifically about black men. I feel like I'm a good black man, bro. I feel like I go to work, I come home, I tend to my family. I'm doing the pod with the fellas. I got school, a few other things on the plate. I don't have time to not be focused. Don't put me in that category. Remove that black men category topic. Get me out of there. I don't care who else you got in there. Get me out of there, and kind of go from there. Because I think that we're not getting enough grace as a whole, as a population. Black men in general are not getting the proper grace of who we are, because it's always going to be downplayed, bro. Whenever we step into a room, I personally feel like whenever I step into a room, I'm tatted. And look, and I'm in a nice position at work, and I'm a big black dude with a beard. I feel like at times my very first impression is like, I see people looking at my arms while I'm standing there talking to them. You know, they see me on Zoom calls all day, but when they see me in person, it's like, oh, snap. So I feel like at times we already kind of get kicked back a little bit anyway. So it's like, all right, now I really have to overexert myself and show you who I am professionally, so that way I can kind of get rid of that stigma. I say this to say, man, I've seen so many people in general doing their thing out loud. I see it, and I could only imagine the things they're doing behind closed doors. That I want to commend us for doing what we got to do. But that's one thing that I'm definitely tired of hearing. That wasn't even what I wanted to share today, but that one just came up just based on this question that just came up. But I'm gonna go ahead and pass it to the next man. I think that just for me, I'm gonna close on that.
I gotta piggyback off you, man. I'm a tatted guy too. I work in I work in a world where, I walk into a room and I ultimately have to prove myself a little bit more than a counterpart. Historically, black men have been told, and it's been taught rather, that black men should be feared. We walk into a gas station, we walk into a store, we walk into a space, and most of the time, unless you are around some genuinely good people, you're already getting judged. You already have a predisposed judgment about you. And I want the world to know that we're not emotionless, man. I think that men or black men are tired of being told that we don't care. We're not affected by things, that we're just these brutes and these beasts. And truth is, we just expressed it differently because we have to go out there in this world and counteract everything that I just said before you actually get to meet who I really am. You know, so we have to express ourselves differently. And most of the time, we're just processing, not avoiding. Okay, I'm processing and assessing the situation. How do I go into this space? Whether it's walking my daughter into school, Derek and Doc, or whether it's me walking into this boardroom with 30 other people that don't look like me, and I'm the only person that look just like myself. Or taking the trash out, man. Walking into Starbucks to get a cup of coffee, and it's like, yeah, I already ordered, bro. Like, I'm Zach.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm Zach. I shouldn't have to show you my ID to get my coffee. That's my name. That's my parents. My parents birthed me with that. I ain't stealing this coffee. I ain't no vagrant walking in here to get no cup of coffee. That's who I am. You know, I'm not an emotion. I'm not a beast, and I think that's what we're tired of having to face every day.
Yeah, yeah. Black people just being, or black men, you know, being emotionless. I think that's what resonates with me the most, man. And I think like what I was getting into of like what I'm tired of hearing is just like, you know, just black men's vulnerability being, you know, sassy or whatever else words you want to, you know, call it nowadays. But I think that part gets to me a lot because, you know, as a norm or normacy, it just naturally, like, we're not big on communication anyways. And, you know, if you have a significant other, especially a black woman, they're gonna make sure that you get that communication out there. You know, they thrive on that, and that's what they, you know, are fueled by. But when I do communicate, then it's perceived in XYZ ways. And so I think like when it comes to that, you know, if I'm overly communicating, then it's another label that's placed upon me. You know, when I have a lot that I've dealt with in my life, or I have a lot that I'm dealing with now, you know, that I would love to express, but it's oversaturated with everybody else's emotions, and where I have to suppress mine. And so I think that's something for me that I'm just tired of hearing when it comes to black people, because I think it's a contradictory within itself. You know, you want black men to talk, but when we do, I don't think folks are ready for what we have to say. And I think like with that, it's labeled as something to where it allows a black man, based on how most of us have been raised. You know, if you labeled it as something being sassy or anything like that, we're gonna just retreat from it and not want to be in that space anyways. And so I think like, you know, just being mindful of just how we're labeling certain things, you know, especially when it comes to men, based on how we were brought up, based on how we was raised, and based on how it's always a balancing act that we're trying to portray when it comes to, you know, being masculine, but also being vulnerable. I think is very, very, very important. It's so much that we're all going through, you know, not just specific to a gender or what have you. You know, but just for this group in itself, and hence the reason as to why we even have this podcast now, you know, because there is a lack and a limitation and a gap that exists to where black men can't say a lot of the things that they're holding in out loud. And so, you know, black man that's listening, you know, your voice is heard. Continue to speak on those things and stand 10 toes on those things that you have. You know, that's bubbling up to the point to where it's about to erupt as a volcano. Before you allow it to do that, man, you know, find a confidant or a couple of them, you know, speak, you know, on those things, because it's something that's definitely not the normacy as of right now. It's something that I am pretty tired of hearing about. You know, when it comes to just like stigmas placed on a black man. And I would love to see change. And so the only way we can make that change is platforms like this, and just speaking encouragement about, you know, folks continuing to speak their truth. And, you know, we all have it. And we shouldn't be, you know, suppressing it just based on how other people may feel about what our truth may look like.
Absolutely, bro. I've been in so many scenarios where people are like, yo, Derek, why didn't you respond to that? Why are you so calm on this? Because imagine if I wasn't.
Right. Exactly.
Imagine if I wasn't. You know, and sometimes, brother, I think sometimes they expect us to kind of be outward, like overly expressive with this, but it's like, I can't be. They already put that on black women. And
they're being targeted right now.
Yes. So why would I go? And I mean, in a sense, it's not me not being myself, because I think that's one thing. But it's like, I know when not to say something. My mom always taught me, if you don't got nothing nice to say, don't say it. So
I was just going like I said, that question's been brought to me like 2 or 3 times, man. I just want to put it out there.
Yeah,
and
man.
I promised several people that I was gonna put it out there, and I said,
absolutely.
look, what day to bring it than the last episode. So
Shout out to them for raising that question, though. A lot of people be scared.
Absolutely,
We
because
invited.
that one opened up a whole can for us on that
Oh,
one.
yeah.
That one got me.
I
That
vote-
one obviously had me feeling some kind of way.
I vote season 2, one episode dedicated to that. I vote.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Time to do research. I vote
Absolutely.
season 2.
yeah.
We gotta do that.
Hey, look, I even feel like this conversation can continue to go. We can definitely extend it. But I definitely want to make sure we get to a nice closing point, fellas, man. Look, let me first and foremost thank you guys individually for coming and being a part of Mic Check. And obviously we got more seasons to go. But it was I'm gonna share this story with everybody now because I think I told you guys individually or at least together that it was just one night I was just sitting up probably 1-2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, bro, I have a thought where I have 3 guys in mind, exactly 3, and it can't be anybody different. And I chatted with my wife about it, who I usually go to for some of my thoughts. I probably over talk to her at times, and I probably give her too much. But I was like, I need Josh, I need Doc, and I need Zach. And I was like, there's nobody else that I can have on this. It's more reason, like there's deep detail as to why. And I spoke to you guys about that in detail. But Josh he gonna come with the energy. Doc come back with the laid back. He's to reel us back in. Me and Zach, we talk so often that this space is definitely for us. We do this anyway. And not to mention the conversations that he has is something that I think needs to continue to be heard as well. But I don't think the Mic Check would have been a thing without you 3 guys being here, a part of this with me. So I definitely want to make sure I give you guys the flowers, the huge thank you on the finale. And I honestly could not have done this without you guys. So I appreciate y'all, man.
So D, man, I received that,
Love,
bro.
man. Love.
I want to give you your flowers too, though, man, for being a visionary behind this, being a pioneer behind this. I mean, I know collectively this platform wouldn't exist without you. So without you corralling us all together and us all agreeing to go and do this together as one. But for the folks that don't know, Derek is behind this. Derek brought us all together. Derek was the vision behind this. You know, we all had our own input behind what name we're going to go with, which idea we're going to go with. But the person that got all that stuff going was DB. So much love to him, man.
Absolutely.
If I could give some remarks for this season, man, I would say keep building people, keep growing, and keep showing up for you. I mean, because at the end of the day, when we all get off of this podcast, we got to go and be individuals within our family. And then when our families go to sleep, we got to show up for ourselves before we can show up for them. So, once again, man, congratulations and love all of you guys.
Absolutely, brother. Yeah, I keep seeing hand claps on this damn thing. I don't know if that's going to show up or not.
It's probably,
I seen it too. It probably
That's
I think
Josh.
it's probably
It's
Josh,
Josh.
yeah.
Hey, I'm trying to give you your flowers, bro.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
appreciate it, bro.
Trying to
Just
celebrate
throw
you,
throw me a flower on there, a sunflower or something, brother.
There you go, man.
No, absolutely, man. I appreciate it, bro.
No,
Hey, look, go ahead, Doc. My bad.
No, I was just gonna say, man, I'd be remiss if I didn't just ditto what Zach said, man. Thank you for being a visionary, brother, and thinking about me on the personal level. You know, being in this space, you know, you've been around so many different individuals, and so, you know, being that my name was thought of, man, I just felt that, you know, it was an honor, you know, to be in this space and, you know, push this initiative forward. And I can't wait to, you know, continue this journey with you brothers, man, and, you know, what we can accomplish and lives that we can reach, you know, just based off of this platform in itself. And, you know, I think as far as just like closing and looking back on this season, you know, and just like what I'm most grateful for in itself, you know, just like the collective and the brotherhood, man, and being able to, unload, you know, just in a position of, you know, non-judgment zones and, you know, the psychological safety, you know, of it all, and making sure that, you know, whatever I had to bring to the table, I didn't feel like I was alone. And so I think, like, to our listeners out there as well, we're hopeful, man, you know, that y'all can continue to bring those questions to us. You know, we are going to continue to be our authentic selves, and we invite you to be the same, because the world can be so cruel, you know, but you have been uniquely made in your image for a reason. And so continue on with the consistency, continue on with the persistence. Once you find your purpose, don't lose sight of it. Don't like lose your grip on that. Hold on to it, and have you some individuals in your corner that when you're down, they can uplift you and adjust your crowns.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better, brother.
Love, man. Just like Doc said, DB, appreciate you thinking of me, man. I hold that in high regard, brother. And it's been an amazing season, man. Been a good one. I can't wait to look forward to season 2. I'm pretty sure season 2, listeners out there, we're gonna have some special guests. I know we talked about that. We're gonna have some special guests, so it's not just gonna be us 3. We're gonna bring some people in and have a couple more interviews. So once again, season 1, the books, mic check.
Yes, sir. Hey, look, I'm looking forward to season 2, bro. I appreciate you being bringing that one up, Josh. We looking forward to hearing from some guests, man. We opening up the table. And I hope we can get at least one person on, maybe every other episode. We got some conversations to have in the off season for sure. But I think that there's no better way to wrap this one up in terms of the finale. Again, you guys are appreciated. The listeners, the viewers, you guys are appreciated. In the off season, continue to share, continue to reach out, tell us what we messed up, tell us what we had some good points, and give us some feedback. We're gonna be wide open for it. We still got our group chat going, so we share all that stuff amongst ourselves anyway. But otherwise, man, the very last episode of season 1, the finale. We'll go ahead and close up. Make sure you guys check y'all mics, and y'all have a good one, all right?
Yes, sir.
Y'all be blessed. Mic check.
Later.